But the next ghost of the Golden Horseshoe, besides the ghosts in the mirrors, because believe me, at night, a lot of times I'd be there by myself closing up, and you have to stack the chairs. You stack the chairs in such a way that they interlock together so they don't fall apart and stuff like that. You stack them on the top of the tables so you can mop and sweep underneath them, and then the person in the morning comes and takes the chairs down. Well, anyway, if you're down below on the bottom level, while you're doing all that, sometimes you look through the mirrors and there's people there. I kid you not. The restaurant will be closed. There's no one else there. The cashiers and the leads have gone out to cash to count out their registers in a different building, and there'd be people in the mirrors. And my coworkers would tell me all the time. They'd be like, I see people in the mirrors. But there's one more ghost there that I was trying to get to. And a lot of people laugh because of the name we gave him. I don't know if the name still goes, but we called him Freddy. Because the tale goes that Frederick was a elderly third shift cast member who, like a lot of third shift cast members, they'd work in the middle of the night, wash down the walkways, report things that need to be fixed, stuff like that, usual things. But he took his breaks and lunches in a storage closet on the second floor of the Golden Horseshoe. Now, if you look at Stage Door Cafe, which is outside the Golden Horseshoe, it has an upper level where there's 3 French doors that open up onto a patio. But next to that, on the second level, is a small windowless room. There's no windows, and it's just, stucco on the outside, and that's at the exit of Stage Door Cafe, so it's up there. That is Freddy's room, and it's only accessible from Golden Horseshoe on the second level. When you go inside Golden Horseshoe, stay to your right and you go up the stairs. On the right-hand side is a door. That door leads into a audio room that controls the audio for the walkways in Frontierland. But if you go through a small doorway, that will take you to the first of 2 storage rooms. That storage room is the one with the 3 French doors that open up onto a patio. That's where they store cups and things like that for the restaurants, and napkins and plates and other such things. That room is not necessarily haunted. It's the room beyond it that has no windows, and that is a tiny little room. It's only got a 5-foot clearance for the roof. It's a A-frame roof, and there's barely enough clearance for your head to fit through. And the door for it is tiny. It is like 4.5 feet tall. When I was there were personal items there. There was, I don't know if they were props for the stage, maybe they were, but there were like little furniture pieces. There was a brush on a little nightstand. And then there were some boxes where they kept extra storage stuff that they couldn't fit in the room prior. But that windowless room is called Freddy's room. That is where Frederick used to take naps on his lunch breaks. And supposedly one night when he was taking his lunch break, he had a heart attack in his sleep and he died in that room. That is the legend. I've never been able to confirm whether it's true or not, but I can tell you, Freddy's room is most certainly haunted. Several times I've been sent up to the storage room to get things from there, and I'd look over and Freddy's room door would suddenly open. And other times you'd hear banging from the other side of the door. I remember one time I heard the banging and I thought someone was locked in there. I opened the door and there's nobody in there. Now, keep in mind that the door can't lock because that particular door doesn't have a lock on it. It has a door knob so you can push and pull it open, but there's no latch or anything. I think they removed it a long time ago because people actually do get locked in that room for no reason. I knew a cast member who she went into that room late one night. We were all, a bunch of the leads and myself, we were getting ready to leave for the night, and she had to bring out something from Freddy's room downstairs so the other cast members had access to it in the morning. let me just say, we were waiting a long time for her to come down. Finally, one of my coworkers was like, I'm going to go find her because, she's taking a while. Next thing I know, the coworker comes down with my other coworker, the one who was missing. She has scratches on her face, and the other lead is, has her arm around her shoulder, and she's like, it'll be okay, or, you're all right. And from what we were told, the cast member ended up being seen by a nurse because she was pretty freaked out. So the other lead came back to us, and what she explained was that the cast member had gone up there, and she went to go inside, grab the box, the door shut behind her really fast, and she could not get it open. She kept pulling and pulling at it, and she thought someone was on the other side of the door keeping the door shut, because she would pull the door, apparently, and it would have some give to it, but then it would quickly shut again. And she thought someone was playing a trick on her, and she was pounding on the door, and she was screaming for someone to let her out, and that it wasn't funny, and that kind of thing. And she was in there for a good 10 minutes or so. Finally, the door had opened, and it just opened on its own, and there was no one there. But the other cast member had just walked down into the room at that time, saw her, and was like, are you okay? Because the other girl was obviously very much in distress. So we were not allowed to be in there by ourselves anymore after that situation. But that wasn't the only time cast members would get locked in there. I heard a year later of 2 more cast members who went up there. They went as a pair, but one of them went into Freddy's room to grab something, and the door had shut behind them and once again locked them in. The other cast member had to shove the door to get it to open. But that's not it. So Freddy stays in Freddy's room throughout the daytime, usually. It isn't till after the restaurant closes that Freddy will come out of the room. And the way to kind of explain that, after Golden Horseshoe closes down and all the guests have left, it still feels like a relatively calm, quiet place. The Frontierland music is still playing lightly in the background. But then you'll hear noises upstairs, and all of a sudden the atmosphere in the room gets really heavy. Really, really, really heavy. Like you have a weight on your shoulders and there's something pressing on your chest. And that's when you know Freddy is no longer in the room. And at first I didn't believe this stuff, but you could feel it. And I remember I was just like, this is really weird. And I would hear the door to the audio room, which is again 2 rooms away from Freddy's room, but is the last barrier between you and Freddy for the night. And you would hear the door pounding like someone's on the other side. I'd open it and there's no one there. But I remember one particular night, I just really felt the atmosphere was really heavy. And I was stacking chairs upstairs, and the leads and the cashiers had gone away to the other building to cash out their registers. And I was stacking chairs, and I remember hearing the pounding on the door, and I went to check and see if someone was there. Again, no one was there. I shut the door, and finally I said out loud, I'm like, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe that Freddy is real. I think that there is someone here playing tricks on me. Next thing I know, the table of chairs I had just stacked got flung off the balcony. Not fell, tipped over, flung. It landed in the center of the restaurant on the level below. It would have taken a great force to push those 4 chairs stacked in a pile to fall that far. And after that, I never questioned whether the place was haunted. And in fact, I came to treat the restaurant with a lot of respect, and the nicer I was about making sure it was clean and pristine, the less ghost activity I would see there. And if I fumbled and I was lazy and I was trying to get out of work quickly, I would see something I would see something really freaky there. And that's really, again, I don't have an explanation for that. It's just a pattern I noticed. So yeah, and a lot of cast members, especially in my time, would admit they've seen stuff at the Golden Horseshoe. There was no question in most people's minds that they heard the stories or have seen stuff. There was one cast member who said she worked there for years and never saw a ghost. And I said, well, come on, you must have seen something weird happen. And she goes, I never saw a ghost. And she goes, but there are weird things that happen that I can't explain. And I said, thank you. I said, that validates how I feel, because even if you don't see something, you experience it. You may not see a ghost, you may not see an apparition, but you experience something weird. And yeah, to my understanding, the cast members at Golden Horseshoe will still vouch for it. So I will end this video with one more story, and it takes place at the Golden Horseshoe. And I was working there, cleaning up for the night. I hadn't yet stacked the chairs upstairs, but I was cleaning up under the tables, sweeping, mopping, and I felt like I was being watched. And once you feel that feeling, you know something's up. And at first I thought it was Freddy, and I thought, oh geez, you know, like, this is gonna be a really creepy night if this is Freddy. But it wasn't, I didn't feel that heaviness that you feel when Freddy's around. Instead, it was just someone watching. And I remember I had finished stacking everything. I was just so ready to leave because I was like, this is such a weird feeling, just feeling watched and not knowing if it was the little girl or the mirrors or Freddy or something. But as I was walking over to the front of the stage, there's these two booths on either side of the stage. There's one on the right, one on the left. And those are known as Walt and Roy's booth. Supposedly, according to the story, when Walt Disney would stay at the Golden Horseshoe to watch a show on stage, he'd stay at his booth, which is on the right-hand side of the stage. And his brother Roy, if he was there, he would stay on the left-hand side of the stage. And if they were there together, then you get the idea. That's why they were called Walt and Roy's booth. And I saw, when I looked on the right-hand side at Walt's booth, the chairs were not stacked. And I was like, oh, geez, how did I forget that? So I go up there. I go up into Walt's booth, and one of the chairs is actually pulled up against the railing, as if it's sitting against the railing looking out towards the restaurant where I was. I stack the chairs, and then I go back down the thing, and I hear this rustling behind me. And I was like, that's weird. I look, and I thought maybe the chairs, one of the tables with chairs had shifted or something with its own weight. And so I walk over, and I notice in Walt's booth, the chairs are not in the same position. They are not stacked the exact same way. And I was just like, that's really weird. I go up to the booth, and there, once again, the chair is up against the railing looking out onto the restaurant. And I don't know, but that was really weird. But there is, actually, come to think that there is one more thing I want to tell you. So if you work an early morning shift, if you get to the Golden Horseshoe at like 7:30 in the morning, sometimes even 8 in the morning, you will smell cigar smoke in there. And even leads have told me that they would come in early in the morning to set the place up, and it would smell just fine. But as they're working, as they're setting things up, it would start to smell like cigar smoke. Beautiful cigar smoke. Well, I found out through some research over the years that Walt Disney, if he was staying in the park, he would have his breakfast at Carnation Cafe on Main Street. Then he would walk over to the Golden Horseshoe and smoke a cigar just before the park would open. And then he would go out to the rivers of America and look out onto the river as the park started to become flooded with guests. Anyway, I don't know how to explain these events, but after all this time, I still find them interesting. I still find them interesting to reflect on. But anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a happy Halloween. I thought it was perfectly appropriate to mention these ghost stories just in time for Halloween. So thank you all for joining me, and I hope you all have a magical day. Bye-bye.
Sponsorship for this program is provided by
Jason from Interactive Realm. My friend Jason creates custom-built signs and various other crafts, and even posts videos of the creative process on the Interactive Realm YouTube channel. You should check it out. If you visit the Interactive Realm website or Etsy shop, you can order your own pre-built items or request Jason to design you a custom piece. Interactive Realm. Imagine the possibilities. And I hope you all have a magical day.
See ya.